Striking geology and Hollywood history combine to make this expanse of our public lands an icon of the West. We'll be taking a look at the Alabama Hills on this edition of About the Journey. Well, good morning, everybody. Thanks for joining us. Today, we are in Owens Valley along the Sierra Nevadas, and we camped at a place called Alabama Hills. The Alabama Hills are a large outcrop of very old granite rocks that sit at the base of the Sierra Nevadas with stunning views of Mount Whitney, which is the highest peak here in the lower 48. This area is a spectacular place to visit, as you can see by the scenery behind me. Now, the Alabama Hills has a long and interesting history, particularly for the film industry. It has served as the backdrop for over 500 movies and television shows, including movies such as Tremors, Iron Man, and hundreds of other westerns over the past century. With it being mid-December, the days are pretty short, so we didn't get here until after dark. But we did have an almost full moon, which brilliantly illuminated the surrounding hills and the snowfields high up in the Sierras. It was a pretty chilly night, probably down in the 30s, but once we had some hot coffee and breakfast, the sun came up and things warmed up nicely. We're going to walk the dogs down this road a little bit and check out the scenery. The Alabama Hills were named after the CSS Alabama, which was a Confederate warship deployed during the American Civil War and served as a successful commerce raider, attacking, capturing, and burning Union merchant and naval ships, as well as intercepting American grain ships bound for Europe. When news of the ship's exploits reached prospectors in California who were sympathetic to the Confederates, they named many mining claims after the ship, and the name eventually was applied to the hills. Now, as you've probably already noticed, the hills have some really striking geology, with these rounded, rust-colored boulders contrasting with the sharp ridges of the Sierra Nevadas to the west. The rust color of the boulders is desert varnish, which is a thin coating of manganese and iron oxides that are created by microscopic bacteria living on the rock surfaces over thousands of years. There are two main types of rock that are exposed at the Alabama Hills. The weathered metamorphic volcanic rock, circled here, estimated to be 150 to 200 million years old, and an 85 million year old biotite monzogranite, which is what weathers into these large roundish boulders we see all around us. Now, if you look up at the higher mountains to the west of us, it looks like they are formed from a different type of rock. But the Sierra Nevada peaks are also formed from monzogranite, with the difference in shape and color being largely due to a difference in age and weathering. Mount Whitney, which is the tallest mountain in the lower 48, towers 9,000 feet above the hills, which sit around 1,500 feet above the valley floor. Now, Owens Valley is what's called a graben, which is a downdrop block of land between two vertical faults, and they're usually formed by a series of earthquakes over a long period of time. You'll see this type of geologic formation all throughout the Great Basin, and Owens Valley is the westernmost graben in the Great Basin. Gravimetric surveys indicate that Owens Valley is filled with close to 10,000 feet of sediment, and that the Alabama Hills are just the exposed tip of a very steep escarpment. It's also part of a large geological trough called the Walker Lane, which extends from the Oregon border all the way down to Death Valley. This feature was created by the same fault system responsible for the 1872 Lone Pine earthquake, which, in a single event, caused lateral movement of 35 to 40 feet and a vertical displacement between 8 and 20 feet in some areas. So let's go over here and check this out. With the Alabama Hills being a popular and heavily used recreational destination, the BLM has established designated primitive campsites and has an ongoing restoration project to help revegetate areas that have been damaged by overuse. These little baskets here protect the various native shrubs and bushes that they're trying to reestablish here. Since this place is as popular as it is, the Bureau of Land Management began a permit system for camping back in October 2024. So if you're going to be camping at any of the designated semi-primitive campsites, they now require an Alabama Hills free camping permit. The free permit is valid for 1 year, and it just makes sure that you understand the rules and guidelines for dispersed camping in the Alabama Hills. They've made them pretty easy to get your hands on. You can get it online, you can get one from the kiosk along Movie Flat Road, you can pick one up from the Eastern Sierra Visitor Center in Lone Pine, or even have it issued in person by a BLM ranger within the Alabama Hills recreation area. The camping out here is still first come, first serve though, so a permit doesn't guarantee you'll get a campsite. You'll just want to make sure you show up early. So we're going to pack up the camp and head down the road and find out why this place is so popular with Hollywood and take a look at a very famous film location. The Alabama Hills are a popular filming location for television and movie productions, especially westerns whose producers were always looking for a rugged and isolated setting. The first known movies to be filmed here were the silent films Water, Water Everywhere and Cupid the Cowpuncher, both shot in 1919 and released in early 1920. Unfortunately, you can't watch them due to these two being lost films, meaning that there are no copies to be found. Back then, films were not thought to have much value beyond their theatrical run, and the nitrate film commonly used in early pictures was highly flammable and susceptible to degradation, so many of these films were discarded afterwards. If you'd like to see the oldest surviving film shot in the hills, you can still see The Roundup, which was filmed in 1920 and stars Roscoe Fatty Arbuckle with a cameo from his friend Buster Keaton. And apparently, it's available to stream right here on YouTube. Since then, hundreds of movies and television shows have been filmed here, including Western classics such as The Walking Hills, Springfield Rifle, and the neo-Western film noir Bad Day at Black Rock.
No comment, he said. No comment, and all the time he's got my stool.
Parts of the sweeping Western epic How the West Was Won were filmed here.
I'll take part of that, man.
As was the Clint Eastwood and Robert Duvall-driven film Joe Kidd.
My friend, I want to ask you a question. I want to ask it only one time.
When Quentin Tarantino was filming Django Unchained, he shot the opening scenes here as an homage to the historical role that the Alabama Hills has played for old westerns. It also provided a backdrop for science fiction and fantasy films like Man of Steel and Iron Man. The Alabama Hills was the stand-in for Afghanistan in the first Iron Man movie, and this spot right here is where the Jericho missile test occurs.
Is it better to be feared or respected? And I say, is it too much to ask for both?
If you look on Google Maps, you'll see a place marker called Iron Man Jericho Scenic Overlook. And I would definitely recommend stopping here and taking a look around, because as you can see, it's quite spectacular. The Alabama Hills has made an appearance in several episodes of the Star Trek television series, and 2 of the feature-length films. It has also provided an otherworldly backdrop for television shows like the original Twilight Zone series.
Well, look. The road's still there. It hasn't changed. It hasn't changed one bit.
It's also been a favorite location for monster movies, like 1955's classic giant bug movie Tarantula, in which a giant tarantula menaces a small desert town.
Dropping napalm, follow an order.
In 1957's The Monolith Monsters, where giant crystals threaten to overgrow and destroy another small desert town.
3 minutes after they dynamite the dam, the water will flood the wash.
We've got to let them reach the wash.
And my all-time favorite movie, Tremors, where giant smelly underground worms called graboids terrorize another small desert town.
Oh, man. Live ones smell worse than the dead ones.
Which begs the question, what is it with small desert towns and monsters gone amok? Well, just remember, if there are any graboids in the area, you'll have plenty of rock to seek refuge on. In the town of Lone Pine, which sits at the base of the Alabama Hills, the Lone Pine Film History Museum explores the area's relationship to the art of cinema. Exhibits include the Dr. King Schultz dentist wagon from Quentin Tarantino's Django Unchained, the 1937 Plymouth Humphrey Bogart drove in Raoul Walsh's High Sierra, and a graboid from Tremors. And while you're there, make sure to get a copy of the Movie Road touring brochure. Every fall, the museum hosts the Lone Pine Film Festival, which bills itself as the only film festival on location because festival goers watch films shot in the area and then take tours to see the very spots where the scenes were filmed. All right, everybody, this has been the Alabama Hills, another beautiful section of our public lands just waiting for you to get out and explore. If you have any questions or comments about this adventure, please leave them in the comment section below the video. And I hope that everybody enjoyed this adventure. If you did, give it a thumbs up. And if you would like to see more videos about hiking and camping opportunities on our public lands, consider subscribing to this channel if you haven't already, and you can join us next time for another adventure. If you would like to see pictures of our adventures, you can follow us on Instagram too. We'll see everybody next time.